Today I'm going to teach you how to make saucy pork. Okay, I have here about 800 grams of pork with skin on, alright? Now, preferably I would prefer to use belly pork, but I don't have any, so I'm just using some cut of pork. Now this pork, I marinate with half a tablespoon of soy sauce and keep it, put it aside first. Now I have here 2 carrots cut into big chunks about 1.5 inches. I've got 4 cloves of garlic sliced. These are shallots and it's about 1 cup, and you keep them whole, alright? Now if you don't have shallots, what you can use is 2 brown onions, and you cut them into segments like this tomato. I have here 1 tomato, and this is not so ripe, so that you give it a bit more tang in the dish, alright? Now here I have 3 potatoes cut into chunks. Okay, let's start with our cooking. First of all, we will be browning the pork. Alright. Okay, let the pot heat up. You can put about okay, that will be about half to a tablespoon of oil. Let it warm up a bit. Heat it up. Heat your pot up. With a high flame, you probably can give it about 2 minutes. What we want to do now is to brown our pork, because by browning your pork, it will give the dish a better flavor. Okay, here we go. You have to brown the pork until you can see the oil seeping out, and the meat will be relatively half cooked and brown. What I did was, I started with a high flame to get the pork going. Now once it's beginning to brown, you lower the flame so that you don't burn your pork. Now it is more or less done, and as you can see, the pork is it's well done. Some of the skin is even crispy, and my fire is not high, but more or less medium-ish. Okay, now we leave it at that flame, at that heat, and we can then start with putting in the rest of the ingredients. We now start with putting in our chopped garlic. I've used here 4 cloves, or big cloves of garlic, and you fry this until it is fragrant. Let it brown a bit. In fact, the minute you can smell the garlic, you can start to put in the carrot, because carrot tends to cook a bit longer. Okay, I already am smelling the garlic coming out. So I now put in my carrots, because this will take a long time to cook. Okay, and then you add your potatoes as well as your tomatoes. We're not looking for solid pieces of tomatoes. We want it to actually boil down, and that tomato that is not too ripe will give it a bit of a tang. Give it a quick stir. The shallots will be going in last because they cook quick and I want them to still be in its solid form but not too soft. So we now put in salt. Okay, salt. Be careful with the salt. I'm not a very salty person, so to play safe, I'll put in 1/8 teaspoon of salt, because we will still be adding oyster sauce, soya sauce, and those are still also salty. And we'll put in half a teaspoon of sugar. As you can see, most of my cooking ingredients, you have to put some form of sugar. If some people, they only use salt in their cooking, the flavor is quite different. So I'm going to put, this is half teaspoon. Put 2 because you have soy sauce coming in and dark soy sauce and they're all salty. So put 2, which is 1 teaspoon because this is half a teaspoon, so 2. 1 teaspoon of sugar, fry it up. Give it a good stir. Now I have not added any water yet. What I'm going to do is cover it for about, let me see, give it about a minute. Okay, so that's about a minute. Stir it. As you can see, the potatoes are a little brown by doing what I did, covering it for a minute. It's slightly brown, as you can see. Now you put your ingredients, your sauces. So I'm going for, I'm going for 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. One teaspoon of dark soy. Okay, 1 teaspoon of dark soy. Oyster sauce. You can put 1 tablespoon oyster sauce. Okay. And stir it. I'm using a non-stick pan. The reason being that so you know the food won't stick to the pot. Now, Chinese cooking, for this dish we will be using Chinese 5 spice. It's not the English 5 spice. This is Chinese 5 spice, and I think we might have a picture of what it looks like. Yeah, so okay, we'll use like a 1/4 teaspoon of Chinese 5 spice for the dish. Okay, stir it for a short while. Give it maybe 5 stirs. And now you add in your water, because what I'm going to do is slowly boil this. Okay, 1.5 cups of water. Okay, raise your fire to medium. Once it boils, you lower the fire. So we'll wait for it to boil. Now you can see this is now boiling. Lower the fire. to a small fire, sort of simmer point, yeah, something like this, simmering, but it's boiling, and let it cook. Now it takes a long time to cook because what you want is the meat to be soft and the skin to also be soft. So give it time and test your meat. Once it's tender, then you know it's more or less almost ready. Okay, I have been cooking this for about 20 minutes, and the pork is not too soft. Now as you cook, you have to check your pot because it depends on the kind of meat you get and how soft you want it or how firm you want it. So check your pot from time to time. I've been using low to medium flame. Now what I'm going to do now is put a dollop of ginger. This is minced ginger from Gourmet Garden. Just a dollop, because if you put too much, it's going to overpower the dish, which we don't want. Now those who like more ginger, you can put more, but I prefer not to use too much ginger because it so just a bit, a small dollop of it. Okay, and you then put in your shallots. As you can see, the sauce has actually, it's thickened up, and now that I've put in the shallots, I'm going to cover it and give it maybe about 3 minutes so that the shallots will be cooked on medium flame. Okay, I have been stirring it from time to time so that the shallots will be evenly distributed. Okay, now you can see the sauce has thickened. Okay, but I am now going to put a 1/4 cup of water with half a teaspoon of corn flour into the pot. Mix it thoroughly. And you now test for taste before you put in your Chinese rice wine, which we call xing wine. That will give it a very good oomph. So let's test for taste and see how it goes first. I think it's not salty enough and still need a little bit of sugar. So I'm going to put maybe about half a teaspoon, and I'm going to use just a few dashes of salt. Okay, now before you bring it up, you're going to put this is the xing wine. About 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon of xing wine. And 2 dashes of MSG. Now, what I have here is Ajinomoto. But just put 2 dashes, 2 pinch. 2 pinch. Stir it in. Test one more time for taste, and it's done.